Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to discuss about locomotion, feeding and digestion in the class Cephalopoda. We know that the Cephalopoda is the class of phylum Mollusca. So we mention here phylum Mollusca. Class name is Cephalopoda, and in this class today we will discuss about locomotion, second is feeding, and third is digestion. So in this lecture we will cover these three topics actually. So in the beginning of this lecture we will try to discuss about its locomotion, how the cephalopods can locomote and how they can change the position of their body from one place to another place. So we can mention here locomotion in cephalopods. Actually, these are the active animals. The first point is that they are active animals. So question is that why these are active animals? We know that the phylum Mollusca, it have more than one classes, and as we have discussed in the later first lecture, in the previous lecture, that the class Gastropoda as well as class Bivalvia. Now we are going to discuss about the different functions of the class Cephalopoda, but more other classes are also present, such as class Scaphopoda, class Monoplacophora, class Polyplacophora, class Aplacophora. From all these classes, the most complex class is the class Cephalopoda, and these are the active animals from all of the molluscan members. So these are the most complex and most active. So why these are active and why these are most complex? Because they contain the closed circulatory system. All the members of the phylum Mollusca, all the classes and all the members of all classes other than this cephalopod have open circulatory system. But when we talk about the cephalopod, they have closed circulatory system, and this closed circulatory system make the efficiency of their activeness. So these are the active animal, and how they can locomote and how they can change their position from one place to another place. The first point is they use their tentacles for locomotion. They use their tentacles for locomotion. So this is the first point we have discussed in the locomotion. The next point in this is the second point. This one was the first point because these were the active animal and they use their tentacle for their locomotion. The second is jet propulsion. Jet propulsion. How they locomote by using this phenomena which is known as jet propulsion. So to understand the jet propulsion, we have to discuss that there are some muscles which are present in their mantle. So how I am making the diagram to understand this. This is actually the body. Here are the eyes. These are the tentacles. These are tentacles, and these are also involved in locomotion up to some extent. And this whole portion, this portion is actually the portion which is the mantle cavity, and this upper wall is known as mantle. And inside this mantle, two types of muscles are present. The one type of muscle is known as radial muscle, and the second type of muscle is known as circular muscles. So when we talk about the radial and circular muscles, how these muscles actually look like. So as the name shows that these are in circle form. So that's why these are known as circular muscle like this. These are the muscles which are known as circular muscles. So circular muscles are present in the mantle, and closely connected to these muscles which are known as circular muscles, they have some other muscles. These muscles are known as radial muscles, and but keep in mind that radial muscles are also known as longitudinal muscles. So these are the two muscles which are present in the mantle of these cephalopods. And here is a point where a structure is present, and this structure is known as funnel. But one thing which is very important to tell you is that we are going to study how they locomote by using the phenomena of jet propulsion. So how they move by using this phenomena which is known as jet propulsion. For jet propulsion they need radial and circular muscles in their mantle cavity. So what will happen when these radial muscles actually, which are elongated or a longitudinal muscle which are present, and these are extended from inner circular muscle to external circular muscles. So firstly they will contract. So I can mention here, in the first, radial muscles contract. When the radial muscle contract, then the space in the cavity will increase. So when radial muscle contract, at the same time circular muscles relax. So when the radial muscle contract and circular muscles relax, then the space between these both muscles will increase. So when the space will increase, the water will come from outside to inside of the mantle cavity. So due to which maximum storage of water is there in the mantle cavity. So how this water is come from outside to inside? Due to contraction of longitudinal muscles which are known as radial muscles, and due to relaxation of circular muscle. So due to alternate contraction and relaxation of these muscles, increase the space in the mantle cavity. So to fill the space which is present in the mantle cavity, water will move from outside to inside. So this is the first phase. So now we will go to the second phase. The radial muscle contract, at same time circular muscle relax, space increase and water will come from outside to inside. So we can mention here, water move from outside to inside. So in the next phase, what will happen in the next phase? That phase will be opposite. In the next phase, what will happen? These muscles which are known as radial muscle will contract. But keep in mind, in the first phase, they were contract, but in this phase they will relax. When they will relax, then they will relax from outward to inward. At the same time, these muscle contract. So when the radial muscle relax, so circular muscle contract. So due to which the pressure which is the water which is present in the mantle cavity, that water face the pressure. When the water face the pressure, that will come out with more pressure and come out from this opening which is known as funnel. So this funnel face the maximum water pressure which is exerted by these two types of muscles which are present in the mantle cavity of this animal. So what will happen? There is a space, and these opening has also some muscle that control the exit of water. So when the water will come at the more pressure, then the pressure direction is from inside to outside. So when the water pressure is from inside to outside, it means moving water exert a force on the external water. So the direction of force of water will be from inside to outside, but the opposite direction will be in this direction. So water force will be from inside to outside, but due to force the body will move in the opposite direction. So that's why this type of motion due to contraction of circular as well as radial muscle is known as jet propulsion or a jet-like motion. So they use the jet-like motion for their locomotion. So we have discussed that how they locomote by using the phenomena of jet propulsion. So now we will discuss that some other animals such as loligo, the body of loligo is like that. These are the tentacles. The body of loligo is like that. They also use the jet propulsion, but to stabilize the body in the water, they also have some fins. These are the fins. When they are swimming in the water by using the phenomena of jet propulsion, these fins are used to stabilize or to maintain the balance of the body of the animal. So this was all about the locomotion in the cephalopods. And now it is a time to discuss about their feeding and how they can feed. For the process of feeding, again we have to make a diagram to understand better how they can feed. These are the tentacles. We know in the previous lecture we also make this diagram, but now we are making this diagram regarding the digestion and feeding. So in the first phase of the feeding and digestion, firstly we will discuss in the feeding about the feeding, how they can feed. The first point for the feeding is that they use their tentacles. We can mention here feeding. For the feeding, they use their tentacles, and they use tentacle with the help of eyes which are present in these animals. These are eyes. So eyes are present and they can make the clear image of their prey. So that's why we can say that these animals are side feeder and they can locate the prey by visualizing them. So we can mention here the cephalopods are side feeders. They are side feeder. They can locate the prey. They can locate prey. How they can locate prey? Because they have their eyes. So that's why they can locate the prey. So this was all about how they can locate the prey by using their eyes. So the next point is that how they can capture the prey. It means food capturing. How they can capture the prey. So for the capturing of food, they use their tentacles. These are actually the tentacles which are involved in the food capturing. How they are involved in the food capturing? Actually, these tentacles have some structure, and these structures are known as adhesive cups. And these adhesive cups help these tentacles to capture the food. So how these adhesive cups actually look like? So we take, for example, this one is a tentacle, and take this portion to explain and zoom it, then that will be like this. This is the zoomed portion of this tentacle, and this tentacle contains some circular structures, and these circular structures are known as adhesive cups. These structures are known as actually adhesive cups. So tentacle actually grab or capture the food. For the capturing process, these adhesive cups help these tentacles to grab or capture the food. If we talk about some other examples such as squids, these adhesive cups also have hook-like structure. So this is the adhesive cup and this one is a hook. So this is the extra material that help to capture the food and help these animals to capture the food or grab the food material. So we have discussed the food capturing, how they can use their tentacles and adhesive cup to capture the food. So now we will discuss that. This is actually the portion and this is the mouth portion. In the mouth portion they have jaws. They have jaws and these jaws are beak like. But one thing which is very important to tell you is that now I am going to tell you that the first phase was the capturing of food and the second phase is how they take the food from outside to inside the body. So it means it is a transport of food from outside to inside. So jaws are present and these jaws are beak like. So we can mention here cephalopods have jaws which are beak like jaws, and these beak like jaws are used to tear the food, for the breakdown of food, for the to make the more grip of the food that will not be escaped from the body or from the capture. So cephalopods have jaw and they are beak like. So these are actually the jaws and these jaws are beak like. So the next portion in the digestive system is radula. We know that we have discussed in the earlier lecture that this radula is present in the all cephalopod as well as this is present in the gastropod. But if we talk about the second class which is known as bivalvia, so radula is absent in all bivalves. This is present in the gastropod as well as also present in the cephalopods. So this radula is used for crushing of food. This radula is used for the crushing of food. So we have discussed that how they can capture the prey and how they can tear the prey. Now we will discuss that which type of animal use the which type of food. So once we try to write the names of some animals actually which are present or which are the example of this class which is known as cephalopod. The first example we will take for how which type of food is used for these type of animals. Firstly we will try to discuss about the cuttlefish and nautilus. Cuttlefish and nautilus. So which type of food actually is used for feeding by these animals which are the members of the class Cephalopoda, cuttlefish as well as nautilus. They actually use for feeding small invertebrates of ocean floor. They use for feeding to the small invertebrates which are present in the ocean floor. So these invertebrates are used by feed or a food for these animals which are the members of the class of Cephalopoda, cuttlefish as well as nautilus. So in the next we will try to discuss about the octopus. The second is octopus. One thing which is very important to tell you is that all these animals are more active, but as compared to other animal, the octopus is less active. It means they don't have fast locomotion. So it can use the small fishes, shrimps as well as crustaceans, as small fishes, shrimps and crustaceans are the animals which are used by octopus as a food. And one which is very important thing is that this octopus can paralyze these animals. How it can paralyze these animals? This octopus have the salivary glands. As a saliva, some toxins are released, and these toxins are actually injected to these animals. When the toxins are injected in the bodies of these animal paralyzed. Now paralyzed, these animals are eaten by this animal which is known as octopus. So after the octopus we will discuss about the squids, which is a third example. Squids. So when we talk about the squids, which type of food actually is used by these animals? So they use shrimps and small fishes. So small fishes and shrimps are eaten by these type of animals which are known as squids, and always these squids attack on the backside of these animals. It means squid attack on the shrimps on the backside. Squid also attack on the small fishes on the backside. So this was all about the locomotion and feeding. But in the third phase of this lecture we are going to discuss about the digestion. So one thing which is very important to tell you is that always in the cephalopod the digestion will be extracellular, not intracellular. So how digestion will take place in the bodies of these cephalopods? The first food is taken from mouth and then food is go to the radula for crushing, and here is a portion, and this portion of this digestive system is known as crop. This portion is known as crop, and this portion is actually used to for the storage of the food material. And next portion is the stomach, and if we talk about the stomach, then this stomach is supported by digestive glands. So when the food is taken from crop to this stomach, then these digestive enzymes, this digestive glands secrete the digestive enzyme inside the stomach for the digestion of the food material. Then after this, then there is a folding of intestine, and this folding of intestine is known as cecum. So the remaining portion which is not digested in the stomach will go to this dilated and folded portion of the small intestine which is known as cecum. So the remaining food is digested in this portion which is known as cecum. Then the extra food material which is not digested is released through this portion which is known as anus. But one thing which is very important to tell you is that this anus is present inside the mental cavity, and this undigested food material have to leave the body of the cephalopod. So then water will take this undigested waste material to this funnel, and this funnel release the undigested waste material from inside to outside of the body. So students, in this lecture we have discussed about the locomotion, feeding and